Well, we can talk now to Marco Vincenzino. He's a strategic advisor on geopolitical risk, and he joins us now to break down these lockdown measures. Well, thanks for taking time to speak to us here. Let me begin by asking you about these different approaches that different countries are taking, and obviously they all have different health situations. How fair is it to compare countries, given that each situation is so dramatically different?
There's certain lessons, common lessons that emerged from this entire crisis. But I think one important one is that one size does not fit all. Each country, so there's differences between countries and differences within countries. Obviously, if you're looking at the urban levels that are places that are more densely populated, the threat is much greater. In the smaller communities where places less densely populated, the opening phase, the easing of the lockdowns will be more ahead. But I think it needs to be done at a gradual level and at a very flexible level. A lot of politicians from the national and local levels need to have their degree of responsibility to turn the volume accordingly. And that's very important because some places that can function economically should be able to do so more than others. So you need that key thing. Is that key thing being flexibility?
Well, let's talk about the South Asian countries. And, I know you've said in many of your writings that they were, better prepared having dealt with SARS 20 years ago. So should we here in Europe then be looking at them as the model to follow?
I'd say it's more the East Asian countries. We're looking at places like South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan. Taiwan is probably the best example, a country that started early on. So if you're looking at lessons, I wouldn't say examples to follow. There's no model nation, each one being different, but there are many lessons to be learned. In Taiwan, very, very early on, understood that in mainland China, something was going on. There was some form of cover-up or there was some form of deniability going on. As early as January, they're already preparing screening flyers coming in from mainland China, already beginning with their social distancing. So they took early measures, and as a result, they've been able to function. They've had 6 deaths and 429 infections, and it continues. And it's not had a lockdown; it's continuing to function. Other societies, Hong Kong has had a second wave, Singapore had another wave, and South Korea has experienced another wave. But overall, they've performed very well. They've had 20 years ago, especially with the SARS outbreak, they're better prepared and equipped systemically and also better equipped psychologically, ordinary people. There's not that trauma that there would have been 20 years ago. While in Western societies, it's something new. Systemically, we're not prepared, and psychologically not prepared. So as you ease out of lockdowns and trying to go into the new normal, for many people, going from lockdown limbo to a new normal can be quite a traumatic experience. So that's economically and psychologically also.
Well, you mentioned this new normal. Of course, we've been reporting extensively on so many industrial sectors which are in risk of perhaps or in danger of disappearing. What do you think this new normal might look like?
You have to there's saving lives and there's saving livelihoods. Saving lives and saving livelihoods are not mutually exclusive. It can be done through responsibility. In places, like I said, in Taiwan, they're showing what it needs. Part of the new norm is part of the behavior. Things such as social distancing, wearing your mask in public, taking several measures. And its civic responsibility is a key element. Everyone needs to be done collectively. So part of this new normal is understanding that beyond one's personal freedoms, there are also collective responsibilities. It's one's rights and one's responsibility as a society. But I think that's in terms of daily behavior. In terms of the long term is to understand that until there's a vaccine or until there's an effective treatment, this new reality will last for quite some time. So one needs to be pragmatic and one needs to be able to adapt to that new reality. And like I said, for some or the more vulnerable elements of society, the elderly, obviously more care needs to be taken. But ordinary people have to get back to life. It has to be that part of new normal. You have to be able to function at the same time, live with this until there's a treatment or there's a vaccine or cure.
Marco Vincenzo, strategic advisor on geopolitical risk. Thanks for joining us here on the programme.